enlightened with your subject knowledge today. Though the time is constrained to 2 hours, with the 2 hours, the smart approach will help the student to get through the more marks. If somebody is getting 50 marks, with this 2-hour addition, let them get 10 marks extra. That is all our wishes. And also welcome CA BT Shetty sir, chairman of Bangalore branch of ICAI. And also I welcome CA Manjunath, co-opted member of Sikasa Bangalore. And also I welcome student leader Dharanagowda Patil for this session. So I hand it over to Dharanagowda Patil to officially welcome the give brief introduction about CA Sampath Kumar sir. I know most of thing is that everybody knows about this is the official procedure. Okay, handing over to Dharanagowda Patil. Please carry on.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Greetings from Sikasa Bangalore. Good evening. I heartily welcome you all. Like a CA examination on cost and management accounting and strategic cost management and performance evaluation. As you all know, it's not about how we hard read. It's about how we smart we write our examinations. It's a matter. Today, I'm pleasure to introduce our today's speaker. Sir is a fellow member of ICI and is the guru who is having 2 decades of teaching experience in the field of costing. And he is the first BOS expert faculty team while framing the current new syllabus for a cost and management accounting. And he has presented various papers on accounting standards in various seminars and conferences across the country. And sir is a visiting faculty for various business schools, including Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. With this brief introduction and short introduction, I am incredibly honored to welcome our today's speaker, my teacher, CA Sampath Guru sir. Welcome to this session, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, floor is yours, sir.
Yes. Shall I start?
Yes. All yours. You can carry on.
Sure.
Your session. We are only spectators.
Okay. Good evening to one and all, and special thanks to our Bangalore SIRC chapter for inviting faculty like me just to meet you through this platform and to share whatever little we know. And equal thanks to our chairman Shetty sir and SIRC chairman and Manjunath and our Sudeep and Patil. Great words. Whether we don't know, we are all deserved for that or not, but definitely this will motivate me to deliver to the extent that students can get confidence to face the examination. Thanks a lot. Just to start up the session. Good evening, friends. It's a nice opportunity to just to discuss about approach towards costing paper, both at inter-level and final level. Inter-level, the new name for the subject is Cost and Management Accounting. We call it as CMA. At final level, the name is also lengthy, content also very deeper. Strategic cost management, one part, and performance evaluation. See, when it comes to a paper, the content, the heading matters a lot. That itself throws you the light to approach the subject. I would say this way. A student who is approaching costing must understand it is slightly different approach required compared to other papers. Of course, each teacher says about his paper the same way. Costing in particular involves mathematical techniques, not the regular mathematics what a science student does, or yeah, hardcore mathematics engineering students does. It's a business mathematics. This mathematical acumen technique, once you become little conversant, it is easy to crack costing. So I would say the analytical ability definitely will be tested when it comes to costing. Let it be at the intermediate level or final level. Therefore, friends, mentally, your approach towards this subject should be more of crossword puzzle, missing figures, equations. Equations need not be involved with X and Y, at least to tally something, to get something as balancing figure or missing figure as your question and answer. So I would say, as far as cost and management accounting for intermediate and the SCMP, strategic cost management and performance evaluation is concerned, please understand the way the subject heading is coined. We were there in the BOS, Board of Studies meeting, when the syllabus was coined. I had the great opportunity to participate and share the views. See, primary motive, very simple, very simple. A student has to be tested in costing paper for costing techniques and concepts, not mathematical techniques. Hope you understand what I'm telling. I'm trying to say, let us not test the students for his mathematical ability by doing some graph or equations. Let him come out with cost concepts for decision making and further analysis of cost and preparation of cost statements. That's the whole idea. When we shifted from old syllabus to new syllabus, the names were changed. Again, I'm emphasizing, as far as intermediate is concerned, the old name was cost accounting. Now it's cost and management accounting. The management flavor, when we add to a subject, definitely a student who undergo the curriculum expected to know little cost control and decision making techniques in each chapter. See, I would say this way, and as an intermediate student coming from BCom or say a foundation passed, he should not have the mindset, I will approach the costing by buying very good calculator, which is have a very big screen and easy to operate so that I can crack costing. Sorry. Hereafter, costing is not going to be just a number game, not going to be. It is going to be theoretical concepts with application. So friends, you have to change your style of studying costing paper, both at inter level and final level. I would say here, it is so important, my dear friends, we have to be very clear in our approach before going for the further content. Our approach must be smart enough. Definitely, it should be smart enough. Such a manner that in less time, we must be able to score good marks. That is the whole idea what we talk about. Let us see. Intermediate first I will take. I'm talking about only new syllabus because now new syllabus is going to be the era. As far as CMA paper is concerned, weightage of marks. Remember, weightage of marks strictly will not be followed by the institute. It will vary slightly. It will vary from 5% this way, that way. Basic theory, cost sheet, 10 to 15 marks. That's a statement what you prepare. Elements of costing, your material, labor, and overheads. That will be around 30, 35 marks. That's a very big area, including theory and problems. Methods of costing, industry specific chapters, starting from job costing till you go up to joint product by product and the process costing. Till that, it is going to be 35 marks. And cost control, cost analysis, 20 to 25. This is where I want my students to concentrate. Cost control and cost analysis. Remember, cost control and cost analysis is not a separate topic. It can be included in any of the existing elements of costing and methods of costing, as well as for your marginal costing and standard costing, so that your subject is not just cost accounting, it's cost management accounting. That is where I am telling you, please understand the objective of the paper. Once the objective of the paper understood means you will not get misled by some other way of studying the subject. That means keep doing the problem, 50 problems in a chapter, end of the day, 51st problem comes, you don't know how to start. That's not the way to be prepared. That is not smart way. In fact, that is not correct way. Forget about smart way. Another point I want to add as far as intermediate student is concerned, your objective is determination of cost. I am not telling no. Therefore, every chapter, your end answer is going to be determination of cost in examination, both at study material level and question paper level. But it's so important, while you are doing that, there are certain factors, assumptions you have to make. When a student can do the assumptions, when he knows theoretical concept in that particular chapter. Therefore, my dear friends, it is no more going to be just calculator. It is calculator plus concept divided by 2. Both are important for your preparation. Smart preparation means not leaving any topic. Smart preparation means you know everything in a very, very precise manner without hitting around the bush. That is what we are going to talk about in today's session. This is about allocation of marks intermediate. Final January paper you would have seen. As far as SEMP is concerned, modern business environment. See, I would say, final students, please, you have to shift your concentration completely from mere calculation and mere tabular format to conceptual understanding and giving opinion, like auditing paper, no? Give opinion in costing. The opinion must be underlined by all your techniques and the concepts you studied in costing. Your approach has to be more of theoretical in this paper. Reason being, what is the name of your paper? Strategic cost management and performance evaluation. Two papers they clubbed. SEM, strategic cost management. The word strategy, that itself will give you an idea. Oh, it's going to be more of cost leadership. It is not no more the profit maximization type of questions you are going to get. It's not just a simple decision making whether a plant to be shut down or continued. Those days have gone. As a final student, you encounter the questions in such a manner that you have to stand in the market. You must be able to acquire the cost leadership. If that is the intention, imagine you go beyond the financial factors. Beyond the financial factors in the sense, non-financial factors. Non-financial factors, shall I give an example? For example, a day-to-day situation is coined as a case study. Suppose you have a vehicle. You're using the vehicle for your office purpose. But your neighbor also goes to the same area for his work. He wants to share your vehicle. In that case, he is ready to pay you monthly. Now the question is, it's costing only. Costing are not coming from sky. From day-to-day life only we can observe costing if you open up your mind. Friends, remember, you have to accommodate him. Right? In this, you can work out financially the problem. Even the intermediate student can work out whether to accept neighbor offer or not. We do know. But what is so important here? You have to decide by accepting him what are all the non-financial factors. Could you imagine that? Sir, in human relationship, how can bring costing? Listen carefully. When you are bringing a neighbor to your vehicle, there are occasions where you have to deal with your household information or share household information with him because he is always with you, he is always traveling with you. That's one issue. Another issue, he may also have to talk it over phone when traveling along with you to share his personal things that you may have overheard. What will happen? This may cross the ethical point of view. So in that case, what will happen? When I'm taking the decision, not only financially, non-financial factors I have to consider. Right. Suppose I reject my neighbor's offer. I have to go by losing the friendship or goodwill. These flavors are added to your paper. Therefore, a cost management paper has become strategic cost management means you shift your approach, your way of discussing, not just with respect to calculators, not by getting the answers. Please go beyond. You have to discuss about, suppose you are solving a problem with the decision making of accept or reject. Those days, if you give the answer, yes, project can be accepted, project can be rejected, fine, because the paper was cost management. When it comes to strategic cost management, we develop the qualitative aspect of the paper. When it comes to qualitative aspect, we will say it is a one-time order, it is a recurring order. If its frequency means what is the reliability of the supplier, reliability of the person who is providing the job work. See that expansion in the subject. So definitely, my dear friends, you have to shift your way of approach to the subject from mere calculations to executive level, from clerical work to decision maker. Therefore, my dear friends, the strategic cost management paper, modern business management, if you go through that, 40%, 35% bottom line, it covers. This modern business environment case studies as well as problems itself, if you are thorough, you are almost crossing the line of control. You are on the safer side. Performance evaluation, why they added? Remember, when it comes to a strategic paper, a hardcore costing courses, they don't know. If you talk to them, they will tell you the performance evaluation is the very, very key. That means you are going for a feedback. You are going for estimation. When it comes to that, it is not enough. What is the environment you are working on to reach the leadership? You have to be sustained. For sustainability, there must be a responsibility. For the responsibility, performance evaluation, you have to add up. So friends, the performance evaluation 40% marks no completely of possibility of very good workings and more of calculator. When it comes to first 40% marks, it's a combination. When it comes to next 40% marks, when it comes to performance evaluation, all your economic value added, responsibility accounting, divisional transfer pricing between two companies, and the international transfer pricing, there's a possibility of working out the problems. That is the area, if you are smart enough, if you are capitalizing, you can score. Case studies. Case studies is the new added feature of our new final paper. Many students are worried at the same time it is scoring also. How it is, as I progress, I will tell you regarding case studies. So it will be 40, 35, 40, 30 range. Here and there small changes might be there. So what I emphasized be aware of what is expected out of you, right? Yeah. Examiner's expectation, when I discuss with certain fellow members and the people who are already in the correction of papers and other things, and also institute feedbacks. See, when it comes to intermediate level, first I cover up because of the common crowd. Therefore, every 5 minutes I'm doing that. Expectation, you are a professional course student. Nobody is going to be happy just by getting answer. Definitely, institute expects clarity in understanding of the requirements of the questions. Sometimes what will happen, a student at intermediate level not reading the question properly and answering based on product instead of raw material. Question is about raw material. You have to do the economic order quantity for the material, but the product information demand is given in the question that way. So you must understand fundamentally material output concept. Standard versus budget. Many students always feel, sir, both appear to be same. I don't know what is that. Both are predetermined, but there is a meaning difference, no? So when you write standard hours, when you do standard cost, you should not overlap the questions with the budgeted cost. Budgeted may be given in the question. You must be able to shift to standard. Oh, why I'm telling all these? Institute precisely says what is the terminology you are using, how you work out. So these are all the pitfalls where students are not having the clarity when they're doing the subject. So when you approach the subject, care to be taken. While studying itself, care to be taken. I am in material chapter. I am in finished goods calculation. I am doing from budget to standard. That is expected from you. That way, if you approach, no, you will not be worried about the technical jargons or terminologies used in the questions. Absorption concept in overhead. Many students, I used to say, overheads chapter, you have to study in detail the theoretical concepts, then only you have to work out problems. The smart approach here is under absorption, over absorption. Then only you can distinguish the activity based costing with the absorption costing. Many students used to say activity based costing as a separate chapter. I won't agree. Activity based costing is an extension of your overheads. A student who has thorough approach towards absorption concept will easily make out that is traditionally absorbing. This is activity based absorbing. So he will know it is an activity based charging, that is absorption. If these terms, if these techniques, if you are able to concentrate on studying itself, costing will become easier for you. Then theory questions. Theory questions, many students, either they are not studying and properly preparing and presenting, or some students are creating themselves the answers. That means without proper preparation, I would say this example in a lighter way. Distinguish controllable cost and uncontrollable cost if the examiner asks. This particular student of his own experience, he writes that. How he writes? Controllable cost, it can be controlled. Uncontrollable cost cannot be controlled. Are you giving answers or you are repeating the question? So please understand that is not the way to read theory. Theory questions to be precise, to the point. At the same time, there must be a quality in your answer. There must be a content in your answer, and you have to answer in a very, very precise manner. For that preparation, very important. Preparation part, I'm going to say, just I'll tell you, these are all the things you have to concentrate. See a final student's expectation, what examiner's expectation. Theory questions to be answered based on the techniques, not on basis of general knowledge. The final students will be very, very smart. They don't require smart approach. They are already smart. What they do, when they are writing the case studies or theory questions, these people provide their conclusions based on their feelings. In the sense, feelings in the sense of their own general knowledge. And they will keep the answer open-ended. Therefore, the examiner may get confused whether this person is telling this way decision or that way decision. He'll give open option to the examiner. Your smartness will not work there because your answer should be based on the modern business management techniques and techniques provided in costing, not based on your own understanding. So that is expected from institute. Skill of writing. It's very precise. You are in the final stage. Skill of writing, the way you portray the issues in the question and the solutions and the working notes and reference to the working notes definitely carry marks because you are almost a professional, just one step away. Analysis of data in a more meaningful way. That means issues in the questions I said, no, even this will be useful for doing case study. Even full case study, if you are not able to give the correct answer. In the case study, you are giving that the issues you are addressing, no, that itself will sometimes make the examiner very happy. Maximum marks will be given because you are showing your knowledge there. You are referring to your costing technique and you are telling that this is the core issue to be addressed. But when you are giving that analysis, further, even your answer conclusions may not be the same as expected by the institute, you will get good marks. Right. Understanding the question requirement. Understanding the question requirement. That's very, very important because question, we have to understand what is required, we have to answer. Again, a new headache for final students, I believe. I have seen the syllabus and I will be doing standard costing. Standard costing at inter-level, CA inter-level is different from standard costing at final level. Reason, they have changed the approach. That means there is a new technique introduced in standard costing. The variance analysis are now more with planning variances, activity variances. But when it comes to an intermediate level, we do more of element variances. You are supposed to know the intermediate syllabus, but when you do the final, you have to change your approach and you have to go with more of market share variance, market price variance. Got it? Therefore, the variance analysis for you is going to be more from management perspective, strategic perspective, rather than the regular material labor. So that, friends, when you do material variance, you must be able to address of that, which is the controllable variance, uncontrollable planning variance, and activity variance expected out of him. Transfer pricing, one chapter. There is no question paper without this chapter. No, there is no question paper without this chapter. Transfer pricing, please devote good time. Good number of problems, good concepts. You please do that will yield you very good marks in examination. Transfer pricing, in particular, interdivisional profit, how you consider, opportunity cost, how you consider, and the conclusion when you are giving, you are not just for numbers, you are for the theoretical exposure. That means the non-financial factors. The group dynamics between the divisional managers, you have to address when you are fixing the transfer price. Not in favor of only one division, you consider the other division and the overall company's objective. How do you present? That's very, very important. So these are the key areas which you have to concentrate as far as final is concerned. So now we realized, oh, this is the paper, this is what expected. It's not just number, it's going to be more of theoretical aspects, right? Okay. Part 2, preparation. First worry, sir, huge books, sir, huge study material, so many problems. That too, now institute website is, they are keep pumping the case studies and the latest question papers and RTPs and all those things. Yes, friends. Instead of studying too many things, If you study certain important books or materials in detail, that will save time. You can concentrate on other papers also. I would say always there must be a notes. That notes, either you have taken, attended classes from somewhere or institute notes, anything, or of your own, you prepared. Either way. But the note should be the condensed notes, which contains all easy, understandable language and important areas. Once that notes, if you have gone through, both inter and final students, you should have your own 40 pages, 80 pages notes. Once you have gone through that, then go to institute material. Institute material is must. You have to go through that. I use the word go through. Reason, sometimes time may not be sufficient to work out each and every problem. Important problems you can work out. Other things you can just go through, right? But after doing the notes, you can do the institute material just to lift up your standard. If practice manual available, you can do, depends upon the which syllabus you are doing. Otherwise, institute material itself is sufficient. Past examination question, just 1 or 2 months before examination, will keep you test yourself. Are you ready? There's one question called Are you ready? So for that past examination question papers, how many question papers? New syllabus, 4 or 5 attempts only there. Those question papers you have to work out after completing each chapter. After suppose a student is completing a chapter, immediately go to study material, immediately go to your past examination question. That's a flow chart you have to follow. Revision test papers given by the institute going to be the key, because latest concept, latest theory questions, how they are going to ask in the exam, it will give you a small idea. The revision test papers download from the institute website or whatever you are receiving from your friend circle, it's going to be very, very useful, especially for a latest value addition to the subject and for theory questions. So in your study table, notes, EA material, past examination question paper practice, and for updation, RTP, so that latest concepts, theory questions, we can answer well. Most of the students, when we talk about costing, they are not worried about the problems and solutions. They are worried about the theory content. They sometimes fed up. They say so much theory is there. I'm reading, sir, but I don't know how to reproduce and all those things. Friends, the approach to conquer the theoretical concepts are very, very simple. Go through institute material. That is fundamental. While going through that, please go through little faster, so that your first objective is you did not leave any theory. All theory you have gone through once, like newspaper reading. Newspaper reading, how do we do? Whatever content we understand or not here and there, first we'll cover up. You cover up that. Once you have to read study material, all theory. Then how to remember? For that, read out the question answer type on theoretical topics by referring to the last 10 question papers if you take. In the last 10 question papers, question and answer type will be there. That you go through once again. That means you are doing the second revision on theory, second revision after going through study material. Then latest RTP, I told you, no, revision test paper, RTP. On such latest RTPs, if you go through for further additional theory, or in theoretical topic only new type of questions, that it will give you an idea. As far as theory is concerned, 3-layered preparation. Layer number 1, quick reading of institute study material. Layer number 2, question answer type from last 10 question papers. Layer number 3, just 1 month before examination or just 15 days before examination, latest RTP. You know why just 15 days before? No, you have to remember theory. If you read now, if the exam is after 6 months, very difficult to remember. Therefore, go through the latest RTP just before examination. Those are those theories you can do. So 3 times you are going through the theory. So very good chance you'll remember the theory and you'll write to the point. What about practical questions? Friends, practical questions, the issue is really how many problems I have to work out in each chapter, which book is better, how many problems I do also in costing. One problem is not resemble like another problem. This is the problem. So when it comes to practical questions, sir, it takes so much of time. I work out the problems, and so many chapters are there. First, it is your ability to select the questions. It's a skill. It's a skill. Friends, always understand solving small questions, 10 questions will take a lot of time. Take one question with the 5-6 adjustments so that it will cover the 10 questions. Avoid solving small questions on each issue means you should not work out a small issue. For example, PV ratio, margin of safety, like that individual questions don't work out. Take up a question. In that question, there will be 2 or 3 parts. One part will be PV ratio, second part margin of safety, third should be desired sales to earn the required profit. There must be a combination. This combination questions only, while studying itself, you have to mark. Such questions only you have to go through when the exam is fast approaching or 1 month time when it is available. So please understand, when 1 month before exams, when you go through that, such questions you have to go through and it will save your time. So instead of small questions, develop the habit of taking one issue and doing different aspects. If I say this way, you will understand. First I give for inter student one example, then final student one example. As far as intermediate student is concerned, a student is doing economic batch quantity problem. He got the answer, square root and all he did, he got the answer. But you only think what is the time interval between 2 batches. Even though it is not asked the question, if you develop that skill, no, take one question, cover up what will be asked in the next question so that number of questions you can reduce. That will give you a breather time to say, okay, if these many questions I work out, I can cover the syllabus. As far as final is concerned, when it comes to final, when you take a decision making question, make at least 2-3 parts in the question. Part number 1, direct decision, whether this project will be accepted or not. Part number 2, if it is not one-time order, if it's recurring order, will you go with relevant cost approach or margin cost approach? You only develop, no. Right. Third part, what are all the non-financial factors? Suppose a numerical question does not come in exam. Instead of that, a theory case study comes. You have to write non-financial factors. You have to write the ethical factors that you develop when you do the decision making. Decision making need not be supported only by numbers. It has to be supported by the other factors so that you are adding the strategic point to the particular subject. This attitude has to be developed while preparing itself. Right? Yeah. Do consolidated questions which would cover multiple concepts. Just now I said no. Instead of doing a CVP analysis, whether at the intermediate level or final level, 10-15 questions, do 5 questions. The 5 questions, including, for example, one question, make or buy decision with subcontracting. First choice, make or buy decision. Second part of the question, subcontracting. By developing that multiple concepts, your number of problems can be reduced. Select top 10 such questions in each topic. Once first time reading, you select no, you mark it. Note it in a notebook. Page number 82, problem number 8, very good problem. It is covering 2 or 3 concepts. Page number 90, problem number 10, it is also very good problem, covering 4 concepts. Like that, you mark such questions. In each topic, 10, not more than 10 questions you have to do. Because remember, you have to revise the entire subject and you have to become master in the subject to pass the exam. For that, again, you cannot go by smaller questions. Initial stage, fine. Note down key points or issues in a question. That habit you have to develop. The key issues, key points. If you develop that habit for final students will help you to crack the case studies. It is humanly impossible to read one-page question and straight away you are required to calculate directly. Not possible, no. In each paragraph in reading itself, you have to behave like a scanning machine. You have to scan the data and keep recording and please noting down. If that is the case, instead of reading the problem twice, thrice, even once if you read the problem, enough. Maybe the first paragraph deals with material. Second paragraph deals with labor and corresponding rate concept. Third with blanket rate of overheads. That means once if you read, if you note down, these are all the paragraphs is dealt with. Straight away you can go to the answer. That will save time on repeatedly reading the question. Right? Yeah. This way, preparing itself at home, you have to practice. It's not only in the examination hall. What you do during the preparation, that only will reflect in the examination hall. Nobody can become overnight good in examination hall. While studying itself, these practices, these skills, you have to develop. Certain examples I want to go through. See, a student is asking, sir, how do I select the problem? Please guide. I tell you, at the inter level, then I'll come to final level. When it comes to intermediate level, suppose you take contract costing. Contract costing chapter, you can always select top 5 questions, top 5 adjustments in one particular problem. How? Contract number A, B, C, D, E. A contract brought forward from previous year. B contract started only this year, but more than 90% completed. C contract started this year, but notional loss. D contract, you have started this year, but you have to be very careful. It is only 49% complete. You have to select the formula. Fifth contract, notional loss as well as estimated loss. You take up a problem with 5 column R, finish the chapter, I'm telling you. So initially you may do one problem, but you have to develop the skill of covering it in a consolidated question. One of such example in contract costing, I said you from here you can develop in each chapter. No, right? 4 type of contract, the degree, I said different degree of completion, which can be carried forward from previous year. There must be a concept of current year loss, expected loss. One contract. Another contract, current year profit, expected loss. Third one, current year loss, expected profit. So that the prudence you can always make out. How do you provide future loss due to conservatism principle in contract costing? You can develop that attitude, no? So the subject also will be interesting, and it won't be like the regular way of doing problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3. Don't know. It should not be like that, right? Yeah. Final level students, as attempt by attempt, if you compare the question paper, institute has increased their standards. Almost they are competing with the CIMA question paper level, Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, London. The case studies are selected from various foreign universities' papers, and they're really testing your conceptual understanding and your writing ability. Your writing ability thoroughly tested in final paper. How do you address the issues? That way, writing ability. See, decision making is one area which you have to be conversant in final level. Case studies is another area which you have to concentrate, because nowadays case studies are playing an important role. For example, when a student selects decision-making problems under CVP analysis, what he has to do? See, when it comes to decision-making under CVP analysis, he can club a couple of decisions in a question. As I told you earlier, a make or buy decision with subcontracting, very much suitable, very much suitable. In make or buy decision itself, he can include to calculate the expected purchase price probability concept, pessimistic, optimistic, like that you can include, no. So such questions you can select. Therefore, what will happen? A student is gradually getting ready. He psychologically, he will not get a shock by seeing a one-page question. It's a psychology for students. Student psychology in examination hall, he always see the size of the question first. If the question goes for more than 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, more than 1 page, he go to the next question. You know one thing, actually a question which is bigger can be easier to solve because more details are available. A question which is smaller may be more tricky because so much missing information. So my dear friends, psychological part you have to take care. When you are dealing with a bigger question, absolutely it is going to be easy because details will be more. But by studying at home, you can include the multiple decision-making flavor in the question, so that subcontracting one question, make or buy one decision, probability one question, why, right? Why you are doing just in time? Just in time. Include stock out concept with the probability. Don't do just in time to be implemented or not. Don't go for that. You please include the stock out cost with the probability. So when such problems if you include, no, you yourself exploring the possibilities for examination purpose, whatever questions comes, you can easily face. The psychological aspects will be taken care of. When you are solving questions like accepting the additional offer, rejecting or expanding your business, obviously you have to take into account certain ethical issues, certain recurrence you have to consider. See, just to add interest to the subject, what I'm saying, Suppose a student is solving a particular problem. That problem is a research project problem. That research project problem, end of the question, whether the research to be further proceeded or to be dropped. What is the cost benefit analysis? When you are doing that, if it is a one-time research, definitely it is going to be relevant cost approach. If it is going to be a recurring project, it is going to be a marginal cost approach. So why don't you do one problem where first question assumption, if it is one-time order, what is your answer? If it is frequent order, what is your answer? Cover marginal costing and that is CVP analysis and relevant costing in one question for pricing decision. What's the price to be quoted? If it's one-time order, what's the price to be quoted? Which principle you have to apply? Relevant costing you have to apply. If it's frequent order, how the price to be quoted? You have to apply CVP analysis. So you study in different places, different concepts, consolidate so that one particular stage you will get the confidence. This subject is easy, it looks like 15, 16 chapters are there. End of the day, I can condense to 10 chapters. That will give you a big relief. Yeah, costing is no more a big thing here. We can deal because these are interconnected. In other papers, interconnection may not be possible because one chapter, what assumption concepts you do, same may not be the next chapter. For example, sir, if that is the case, I want to connect contract costing with the standard costing. Possible, sir? Very much possible, no? A contract costing problem with the estimated cost and actual cost, if it is given, find out standard profit and actual profit and apply standard costing to see why the standard profit is not equal to actual profit. You prepare contract account. You find out the notional profit. You find out the actual profit. Contract costing over. But why it is not equal to budgeted profit? Prepare the standard and actual variances. No, the contract costing can be clubbed with standard costing. In costing, it is possible. Oh, sir, if that is the case, standard with the budget possible? Very much possible. They have relatives. Actually, they are relatives. You are thinking they are in opposite parties. No. They are in same party. A budget, if it's flexible, it's going to be standard. No. A budget, if it is rigid, it is budget only. If it's going to be flexible, according to the current situation, it is going to be standard. Therefore, these are cost control concepts so highly interconnected that interconnection, if you understand, you will not study chapter wise, you will study a subject. Studying a subject is different from looking at the particular subject as chapter wise. Okay, so much serious discussion going on. I'll tell you this way so that you will understand. According to non-medical students, suppose I don't know medical science, we all don't know, no? Therefore, we will look at body as separate, head, body, legs, hands, like that you may look at. A person who knows the science, anatomy of the body, how he look at, sir, body is nothing, sir. It is collection of cells. There are trillions and trillions of cells. If they connected in different shape, one shape looks like head, other shape looks like hand and legs. That is body we call. But since we don't know the cell theory, we are thinking, oh, it is all different organs, eyes, nose, but everything is cell only, no. That is why if vaccination is done in one particular place, how the vaccination works for the entire blood system, because they are interconnected. That interconnection, if you are able to do it in a costing subject, costing won't appear to be a chapter-wise subject. It's a whole subject. If you know concept, then only whether it's the first chapter or last chapter, even if it's clubbed, you can survive in the examination. In particular for final students, you have to increase your level of learning from a normal intermediate approach to a strategic cost approach. That means you have to develop the concepts of reading more, writing more patiently. Don't get carried away by the size of the question, is the minimum advice I want to give. Pricing decision. I openly say to final student, pricing decision is one particular decision making you have to concentrate heavily. Because pricing decision can come in CVP analysis, recurring order. Pricing decision do come for relevant costing. Pricing decision can be in activity-based costing. Transfer pricing includes pricing division. Pricing theory is there in pricing decision. Pricing decision can be clubbed with Pareto analysis. Pricing decision do play a important role in analysis of profit in case study. Pricing decision, one word, how much connection it has got. Therefore, pricing decision is one key area. If a CA final students concentrate and practice different questions, that student probability of passing the exam is very high. While working out product mix decision with multiple key factors, bring LPP into the picture. I just recollect the topic discussed in Board of Studies when the syllabus was coined. There was a huge discussion about QT, whether QT to be included in costing or not. We are all fundamentally mathematics now. I am BSc Maths before doing CA. So our liking towards mathematics is always there. And the people from West Bengal, those areas, they are all very much insisting QT must in the costing. But since we moved with the thousands of students in these years, we know the difficulty. For student, costing itself is struggling. In that, if equation comes, x and y comes, graph comes, means he is running. Therefore, we gave the feedback what students generally feel about this quantitative techniques, but it cannot be avoided. Quantitative techniques are excellent techniques, Therefore, they said, why don't we make linear programming problem and the other aspect of what is another learning curve theory into that, because that makes sense. That makes sense. A pertinent CPM, a computer software does the job. A MRP, ERP, a computer software does the job. We need not test the students for that purpose, but a student has to be tested for multiple key factors. Reason being, very well, multiple key factors when it comes, marginal cost blinks. It addresses one key factor at a time. When it's a multiple key factor, naturally, friends, unless you have a quantitative technique help, you cannot crack the question. Therefore, even CA final syllabus, you see, they included the LPP part and the learning curve part, which has to be added. So be aware, LPP is not a separate chapter. Anytime it can be clubbed with margin costing, multiple key factors. While doing variance analysis, solve learning curve. Beautiful, no? You do the standard costing, you do the variance analysis, learning curve concept you include there. Such questions are there. Why? Relevant costing can be added to the standard costing. That is the development subject has become. Those days have gone. Relevant costing, decision making, separate question. Standard costing, reconciliation, 16 marks question. Those question papers are in dustbin. My dear friends, subject is vibrant. So you have to do the variance analysis called standard costing under relevant cost approach. Very interesting, no? What is relevant cost approach? You go by what is relevant or irrelevant concept. Based on that, you have to do the material and the cost variance, controllable and uncontrollable variance. So you have to connect both. Very interesting questions are there in study material. Therefore, such things, why don't you give added concentration, extra concentration, so that you are safe. You are not only preparing the subject in traditional manner, you are understanding examiner's expectation. Time. Allocation of time. Generally, friends, the time framing very, very important, because when we talk about preparation in particular, preparation definitely cannot be done in such a manner that so many problems, so many chapters, keep doing other subjects you are not able to touch on between. There must be boundary. There must be a boundary. Drawing the boundary is going to be the key, and you should get satisfied. You should not try to work out the entire book, entire concept, then only get ready for exams. That may not work out. Reason being, you have to be very clear. You will become chartered accountant or you will pass CA Inter if you pass all the papers in the group. So, by put it very simply, it is not enough to concentrate on one paper. You have to concentrate on all the papers together. In this regard, sir, okay, sir, if I have to do so many subjects, sir, how to sit for longer hours and study? There is a way to do that generally people suggest. You have to rotate the subject. It is very difficult to study one subject for longer time. Very difficult for anybody. If you make the change in subject rotation, even sit at one place and studying 6 hours, 7 hours won't be a great deal. For example, why don't you imagine this way? You are always studying 2 practical paper sandwiched by 1 theory paper. In between 1 theory paper. If that is a combination, You do a practical paper in the morning time, accounts or costing or financial management, and you are doing one theory so that you get relaxed with it. Again, evening when it comes, again you start your practical paper. Therefore, studying 3 hours, 3.5, 2.5 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours study will become very normal for you. When you are habituated to that, covering 4 papers, 8 papers, and all in 2 months, 1 month won't be a great deal. Therefore, always you have to study and you must have the mixing of subject, combination of subject. Relaxation techniques must. Yes, especially this pandemic time, relaxation techniques are must. Friends, I always believe mind plays an important role. Then your knowledge and the concepts, that attitude you have to go for the examination, that plays a very, very important role. And while preparing also, how do you keep yourself relaxed so that you are not getting tensed? If you get tensed, it will affect first one, health. Second, because of the health, few days if you are not studying, again it will hamper your preparation. Relaxation techniques, generally we prefer those days combined studies. See, we allocate the topics with sincere people, not people while away the time, not that kind of company. People who are really sincere about examinations. So we allocate the topic, we read, we teach each other. That's where we develop the teaching ability. And we exchange our thoughts and we will try to condense a subject and give it to other person without missing any important point. That is something unique, no? See, I study a target costing chapter. Target costing chapter fully I studied. I have to give that essence, juice to my friend. But friend may not have studied a different topic. He should not miss out any point, no. So I will prepare in such a manner that I will not leave out any points. At the same time, in a very small condensed version, I am able to give in a small capsule his target costing. How to tell example? You know very well example. You can tell him like, hey, step number 1, target price. The target price by market survey, we have to find out, keeping competitor in mind, target selling price. Step 2, they are telling profitability very important because selling price includes profit and we are doing business for profit. So naturally, profit desired, that can be a ad hoc percentage or your return on capital employed, or desired rate of return. Some profit calculations, correct, because profit vary from one situation to another situation, the terminology. Therefore, that you can do. Already you have done in step number 1, your transfer price, and you are getting the desired profit. If I deduct, I get the transfer cost. That means I always go for the target cost. Sorry, transfer cost, no, target cost. Target cost I'm getting. Target price, target profit, target cost. What is target cost? The cost to be achieved. Cost to be achieved. So I have to achieve that cost to compare the actual cost. If your actual cost is more than the target cost, definitely you need meeting with your down employees and tell them, boss, you have to achieve this. They say, sir, how will you do that? This is the material cost, this is the labor cost. You tell them, go for value engineering and value analysis technique. See that non-value addeds are removed. Only value addeds are considered. Therefore, you can reduce the cost. Cost reduction technique, you teach them, train them so that you can reach the target cost. See, your friend need not go through entire theory of target costing. Like that, he is studying life cycle costing. He can help you for life cycle costing. Then both of you can go through case studies. What will happen? There is a atmosphere. That atmosphere is called costing atmosphere. In that costing atmosphere, you are able to do exchange of topics, exchange of knowledge. In that, you develop 2 things. One is communication, another is you are saving somebody's time. At the same time, both of you not worried about theory, how to read. When it comes to intermediate, when it comes to intermediate subject, you want to read something and tell your friend, because we should not leave the intermediate students room. Right. So intermediate students will say, then what for I am watching, right? Yes. Overhead chapter, under absorption, over absorption, you have gone through. Your friend is not able to absorb that concept. So what you can do? Simply you can say, listen here, listen. there is a predetermined overhead rate into actual hours, that is overheads estimated or charged. Actual overhead incurred will be given in the question. Difference is under absorption or over absorption. First learn how to calculate difference under or over. Then how to give the accounting treatment. Only 3 treatments are there. Transfer to P&L or carry out next period or supplementary rate. Work out one problem. This is the theory, this is the problem. In exam, either theory will come, problem will come. Okay, no. What you studied? You studied process costing with WAPR. Share with me. So there is a costing atmosphere, sharing of topics, and you develop the ability. In that ability, you are indirectly, you should know all the points because you are telling to somebody that responsibility you are taking. So you cannot leave out any important points. This is one way. Second way of relaxation techniques. Always we remember in a day how much time we spend for ourselves for being alone and being silent. You get back your energy. Friends, don't feel otherwise. I have my own theory of principles of ideas about the online classes and the laptop usage and mobile usage. I'm not against anything, but my feeling is continuous watching to the online, pen drive, laptop, mobile, all this definitely will take away the energy from you very easily than the traditional system of learning. I always suggest you have to keep your mind and eyes cool for every 1 hour. 1 hour watching, don't do today, just I'm telling. 1 hour watching. After that, please take a small break and please have a wet cloth and clean up your eyes and faces. Very important for these days because now no face-to-face classes, face-to-face education now, everything online. At the same time, your concentration and the brain is very important for examination. You should have the habit of having a small break in between 1 hour, 1.5 hours, so that any human being, scientifically proved, cannot concentrate for more than 45 minutes. By this time, you would have known. Therefore, this every 45 minutes, 1 hour, definitely you need a small break. But that break should not be long enough in such a manner that next day only you are studying. Not that way. It should be a frequent break, but taking care of your eyes and the face and the freshness and changing of topics, sharing of topics. That means you should be always with the studies because you selected CA course. You should be always with the studies. At the same time, you cannot forget relaxation. The successful people are people who knows how to relax while working, who work while relaxing. I repeat, you should know the technique of relaxing while working, and you should know the technique of working while relaxing. For example, relaxed way you go through a particular chapter, case study for a final student, problem for an intermediate student, and you note down the point with sincerity. So much of relaxation that why you are going to explain somebody, you are going to be a teacher, right? While working, you are relaxing. You are only creating new points and examples, right? Then that every 1 hour, 50 minutes break, you and your friend exchange views, no? That time, casually you are talking, standing outside, having a cup of tea in your hand, you are sharing what is read in life cycle costing, what is given in process costing, what is in contract costing. You are relaxing, but towards subject only you are talking. If the proper blend of these will always help you to be always on exam preparation, you will not have the guilty at the end of the day. Hey, today so much time wasted here. Yesterday went well, very well. Today only gone. Tomorrow onwards, let us not do combined studies. That habit won't come. So friends, combined studies nowadays possible or not, I don't know. But at least if you develop the concept of rotating the subjects, sharing the thoughts, and through any other mode you can communicate to your friend through mail or mobile or WhatsApp, and what you studied and what you understand, how interesting the case study is. If you do 5 case studies at the same time, if he does another 5 case studies, 10 case studies in same amount of time can be exchanged. That way 30-40 case studies if it's ready, worry towards case study may come down. And similarly, CA interest students, theoretical concepts if you exchange, for you also these kind of worries will come down. Preparation of your condensed notes on specific topics. I feel this is going to be the Brahmastra. CA students always should remember it is impossible to revise the subject on the previous day of the examination. If you are not revising the entire subject on the previous day of the examination, you may not get the confidence. So how to handle this? While you are studying each topic, prepare yourself a condensed notes. Condensed notes in such a manner that without compromising the quality, the final students will study quality control, without compromising the quality. By continuous improvement, case and casting, continuous improvement, you can apply in your day-to-day life. Continuous improvement and without compromising the quality, you are preparing yourself on each important topic on library of adjustments, library of important points. That 40 pages notebook going to play very, very important role. So you are going to prepare the notes on each topic, or your friend can prepare one topic, you can prepare one topic, you can exchange. When you are doing that, that particular condensed notes is going to be the notes to be revised on the previous day of examination. That means you go through your classroom notebook, you go through your study material, and you have already gone through your past examination questions. In this, already you selected good questions, good adjustments, that you have noted down, 40, 50 pages notes are ready, This is going to be the revision for just 2 days before examination. Therefore, you are slowly coming out of studying notes, studying study material, previous year question paper. Instead, you are going to have your own notes. That notes is a condensed notes that will carry all the points from all the 3 books. Again, you need not revise the 3 books. That is where first time reading itself, once you are able to do it, you can save time. The preparation of condensed notes, I'll give a small example how to do that. How to do that, I can explain to you now. For example, I am a final student. I am a final student. I am preparing for relevant costing. CVP analysis. Together, I am doing that. So when I am preparing the condensed notes, I know very well I am going through the most profitable product mix decision. When it comes to most profitable product mix decision, I know the steps. I have to arrange the contribution. I have to identify the key factor. If it's only one key factor, fine. Otherwise, I have to apply LPP, contribution per key factor. I give ranking. Based on ranking, my resource allocation I have to do. After resource allocation, I have to check the profitability is maximum or not. The steps you are writing now, this is not going to change for any problem. So these steps when you write, you can always include one more topic called theory of constraints. Already you are in margin costing. In margin costing, already there is a key factor. That key factor is nothing but constraint. But in the same strategic cost management paper, there is a topic called theory of constraints. That also speaks about the same, but that speaks about your bottleneck key factor. That bottleneck key factor, if you include here, when you do CVP analysis on decision making, one corresponding topic, theory of constraints, you are able to cover with the case study. Margin costing also ready. That case study is also ready. By including small things like that, by preparing the notes, the subject is no longer going to be a nightmare. You will feel what is there here. Here we talk about key factor. In the chapter, it is bottleneck. If I understand constraint and bottleneck difference, I am getting ready for 2 topics at a time. As far as intermediate student is concerned. When it comes to intermediate student, how does he prepare the notes? Already told you for contract costing. I will tell you, for example, a chapter like process costing. When it comes to process costing, he is worried about the opening WEP and closing WEP, especially FIFO method and average costing method. He can always do that. If there is a WEP, then only equivalent production. If there is an equivalent production, I have to follow 3 steps. Step should be convert physical units into equivalent units. Step number 1. Cost per equivalent unit. Step number 2. Prepare valuation statement. Step number 3. So that by doing that, he is getting slowly, oh, this is what maximum in a chapter. So that confidence will come. In other words, he is preparing economic order quantity. Economic order quantity, he already done 2 problems. Economic order quantity, purchase price constant, purchase price not constant. Both you note down, no. Purchase price constant means this formula, not constant means tabular format. Then, so this kind of notes is going to be useful for your future revision. So that is while studying, this also you have to include the time, because only once you have to study big books. After that, a condensed notes only you have to go through. We started with what we have to prepare, what the resources we must have, and we are keep preparing. All these are happening. Now we are approaching to the peak. The peak is nothing but now, a day before the examination. Friends, always you remember the psychological factor. Psychological factor you have to take care when preparing for exams or professional level like CA. That's where the smart approach comes. No, the smartness is not being going for a shortcut. That's not smartness. Smartness is making difficult things easy. I have studied science now that sometimes in physics they will give that lever concept. There will be a huge stone which you cannot push through your hands. There will be an iron rod which will be given. Correct. With that iron rod, if you are able to press the ground beneath the stone, it is possible to roll down the stone very easily. That is smart work. Trying to push the stone and getting sweat and not able to do, getting tired and frustrated is not smart. We say smart approach because we do agree with you. You have taken up a challenge in your life for CA course. That CA course you have to get through successfully means definitely you need a smart approach because you cannot while away your time because so many subjects are there at a time you have to remember. Friends, in this regard, I just to throw a personal experience of mine. When I came from science background, when I approached the CA course, really tough because the people who did BCom and doing CA, they were already ahead because they know very well from PUC first year, second year, they do accounts. For them, the trial balance, reconciliation, just like that. For us, that time only we are studying what is debit credit. Because in BSc, if you have a good percentage of marks, you are allowed to join CA. No, we are struggling. Remember, we live in a society where nobody will bother about your struggle. They'll talk about only your results. Unless you pass the exam, you have a certificate. How much ever knowledgeable you are, nobody is going to give respect. So, when you are living in such a society, naturally, friends, success matters. Certificate matters because we developed that education system. Our education system is based on certificates only, no? Not by knowledge. We require knowledge to get the certificate, but people believe your knowledge only through certificates. That is how the system is. You have to live with that. Generally, a mechanical engineer will be given more respect than a car mechanic who does day in, day out. Car mechanic he does, but the mechanical engineer, everything only book knowledge. But people will give respect only to mechanical engineer because of his degree. No, we developed that society. It's not one person mistakes. They are being done like that. Therefore, we people like science background, when we approach the CA, these students will answer very fast. They will clear in first attempt. We'll be struggling. All this happens. All this happens. So when it comes, how do you overcome that? See, it is only a psychological factor, I believe. It is not a commerce guy or a science guy. It is not that you are good in only theory paper. Costing means you will have a difficulty. Practical papers means you have difficulty. I don't think so. It's only the mindset. I have seen in many places. Theory papers like auditing, when it is the class is happening, the institute or somewhere, daytime, Sunday, afternoon means students cry, sir, afternoon, sir, auditing, sir, after lunch, sir. Same student, if Monday is auditing exam, previous day, Sunday, whole day, he is with auditing book and he is studying. That day also afternoon comes, that day also after lunch also you are studying. What's the difference? Mindset. When it comes to examination on next day, your mind works, you don't want food, you don't want water, especially boys, okay, to a certain extent, girl students, thoroughly they are concentrating. Girl students, by the time they are finishing the CA course, almost their energy gone. They are left with only the balancing energy. All energy they spend, convert into CA degree. Boys point like that. They are cool. They are cool. They manage how to do that. This already the girl students eating half chapati, 2.5 bread, and quarter means that quarter of tea. They are already in diet. The CA course if they join, diet square. Therefore, what will happen? The energy level is very low, and on the top of that, they will get tensed. Previous day of the exams, you have to see why previous day. Sometimes I have observed previous month of the examination in our CA Institute corridor. I speak about boys. These fellows, they will be eat in CA Institute, drink CA Institute, sleep CA Institute with the book. They will even an old jeans pant. That jeans pant he was wearing with intermediate, no? Same jeans pant, because intermediate he cleared by wearing that jeans pant is the sentiment. But he should think about others more. Therefore, but this fellow will not bother. Same jeans and t-shirt, he will be reading in days together. What happens in that? One psychological factor is, we are all human beings after all, though we are all doing CA and other things, naturally the mind character gets little tired and your performance may get reduced as days progresses. Especially the day before the examination is going to be the key, because next day exam means how do you prepare on the previous day matters a lot. Your entire preparation for the 6 months has to be condensed and culminated on the previous day of the examination. That means it has to be taken care well, so that the 6 months effort will become fruitful. So, as a student, you have to prepare a checklist. On the previous day of the exam, you should not start reading a new topic. You have to prepare a checklist. That checklist must have whether I know this, like that. I give, for example, CA Inter. CA Inter checklist, you see. Economic order quantity, material chapter with the discount offer. Do I know or not? You ask yourself. Stand in front of a mirror, check. Tomorrow morning exam or afternoon exam, EOQ Nova. That EOQ with the discount offer, because EOQ with the discount offer, you cannot use square root formula, you have to use tabular approach. Then, labor chapter, standard time calculation with the Halsey and Rowan. Sometimes Halsey and Rowan hidden information will be given, standard time will be given, actual time T, you have to find out. Are you capable of finding out? Are you ready? Tomorrow afternoon exams. The checklist in your notebook, you are verifying. Are you ready? Or if you are not ready, go back, read once, revise, come back. It is more of getting ready for the examination, prepared for the examination. Third chapter, under absorption, over absorption, clearer concept. When it's called under absorption, when it's called over absorption, and its corresponding accounting treatment, supplementary rate. Are you ready? Ask yourself. Ask yourself. This is a list or a fair list I'm giving. See, for example, I'm telling the students, it is possible for anyone to say these are all the maximum can be asked in a subject possible. That's the inter level or final level. You can always come to a boundary. That's what I'm telling. You can always say that this is what the maximum. These are all the intricacies which I have to remember. But for the 6 months hard work important. The 6 months hard work, preparation of condensed notes, and going through that classroom notebook, CA material, previous year question paper, RTP, from that selected questions will give you the synopsis. The synopsis won't come directly, right? Reconciliation between costing and financial profit. Added, deducted, what is to be added, what is to be deducted, whether I am prepared for that or not. In that, if they use the word under absorption, over absorption, am I all right or not? That you have to verify once. Contract costing with the escalation clause. Very famous, no? Very famous question. Contract costing with the escalation clause, friends. Peculiar contract clause is available for increase in material and labor. There will be compensation. It's not cost plus profit. Escalation clause. If that problem comes, how to calculate the extra amount to be paid? Are we ready? You have to check. Oh, I forgotten. Go through. Next day exam. Yeah. Process costing with the WIP and inter-process profit. WIP, okay. That inter-process profit, no. Mathematical part. Profit is 20% on transfer price. Profit is 25% on cost. Have you really understood? You know when to assume what 100? In classroom you did mistakes, no. In model exam you did mistakes, no. Don't do that tomorrow. Tomorrow main exam. Check. The weak areas you know, no. Generally you are very good. Certain areas you will be weak. That analysis already you have done, no. That kind of notes I will tell you. On the previous day of exam, that kind of analysis you have to go through. Then intermediate student margin costing. CVP analysis with the key factor concept. Marginal costing, I studied it. PV ratio, I know. Margin of safety, I know. Hello. Formula, you know. Desired sales is equal to that formula, I know. Key factor concept comes. Decision making, you know or not. That I did not go through, sir. Go through tomorrow exam. So please understand. On the previous day, what kind of questions you have to go through? Peculiar questions, important questions. Generally, we do mistakes, no? That kind of questions. And your weak area, which you have analyzed in that 6 month studies. That notes you prepared, no? You marked in red color. You put star mark, no? Those things. Then, flexible budget, standard costing. What is the difference? Budget chapter also I have. Standard costing I have. In budget chapter, I prepared functionality based budgets, and I also do flexible budget. They give for 60% capacity and project it for 80% capacity. Correct. 60% to 80% when I am projecting, what does it mean? My actual scenario in the market, maybe 80% capacity. Whenever a predetermined cost, final students will appreciate this point. Final students, if they are observing, they'll appreciate this point. Whenever a predetermined cost is elevated to your actual situation, that is standard, no? This way, half an hour before I raised one question, do you really know the difference between budget and standard? Theoretically, budget and standard appear to be same. Small difference is there, no? Conversion of budget into standard, intermediate students also should be comfortable, final student also should be comfortable, because conceptually it should be strong. So when I do at 60% level, when I project for 70-80%, I do a flexible budget. That flexible budget only standard costing. Then that flexible budget, if it's compared with the actual, you do the variance analysis. Oh, yes. Can I prepare one table like this? Tell me. One column budget. Okay. Second column flexible budget, but within bracket standard. Okay. Third column actual. Fine. Last column difference, which is called variance, which can be adverse or favorable. Fantastic. The one table you covered all concepts. No. You are only showing the knowledge. Sir, I know what is budget. I know how to reach standard. Sir, I know what is standard, what is actual. I'm able to do variance. But one table only I prepared, sir. That means costing. Okay, sir. I'm getting grip, sir. That is what we want. Again, we are not telling, have you read that book? Have you read this book? Have you attended there? Have you went there? Who asked you? Did you clear the exams? Are you capable of going to final if you are an intermediate student? Are you capable of working in industry if you are a final student? That's the only question. Your qualification part only we are worried about. For that, the smart approach means condensed approach. That's what in a nutshell I want to say. Right? Yeah. CA final. CA final 1 day before exams. Very crucial day, because just by a week time, that means that week goes on well. Suppose for a student, group 2 is the only pending. Group 2, if he goes well, he becomes chartered accountant. Suddenly he becomes a qualified professional. No, your life is going to change. So obviously, my dear friends, on the day before the examination, it is going to be more, not only tension, it is more of anxiety. And you will feel that somehow at this time we have to clear. When that kind of situation we are in, mind says you have to study. You open the book, you read for only few hours or minutes. Again, thinking comes. Costing okay, IDT now. We're studying IDT. IDT okay, costing the case study. Understand that? So please understand, it is wavering. Why? Next day exam, you are concentrating. When you are concentrating, no, mind-body coordination is not there. That is where I'm telling psychological part. For that, the 3-4 months when you are studying, if you would have prepared the condensed notes, if you have known what chapter, what important, which are all the important library of adjustments, I told you, that if you have prepared, when you have done that, then you will know, oh, this is the area I have to concentrate. I check once. I stand in front of a mirror. I check what is there. Because if something little bit doubt is there, I can go back. 24 hours available. I can go back and I can verify once. I make it little tinkering work. I make it all right. So that it is a day before, 24 hours before exams, going to be the crucial day where you have to get ready for certain important areas. I'll tell you, when you go through the previous day, those things, and if you get ready, that will give you satisfaction. As 6 hours progresses, next 6 hours progresses, fine, no? Ready only. I think this attempt is clear. Appa, relieved. Oh. In that way, if you go to sleep on the previous day of examination, next day morning, you will get up like newly blossomed lotus and you do wonderfully. If the previous day now, if you are going to study something new and you still feel that topic mantra should not come, any topic okay, the standard costing with the reconciliation, like that, if you are on the previous day, that will hamper your sleep and will obstruct your performance in the examination. That's why I'm telling the 3-4 months preparation should be condensed. The condensed notes must have certain points which have to be verified on the previous day of the examination. Checklist for final students. Very, very powerful question. Frequently asked question, product mix decision with multiple key factor. Old syllabus they are asking, sir. Nowadays, you see the question papers, sir. Supply chain management, Porter's 5 years model, your performance prism, performance pyramid, that balance scorecard, benchmarking, target costing, life cycle costing. Let it be. Let it be, I'm telling. Hello, in a question paper, 100 marks question paper. To save 6 months, we require minimum 50. I'm telling below that. Minimum 50 required. Therefore, you can save. Okay, 60 required, so that at least exemption you are getting. You please remember, if you are a smart man, there are so much theoretical concepts and case studies. It is humanly impossible to become expert in each case study and each theory, humanly impossible. There is always a SWOT analysis. There is always a combination. Even a rank student, if he scores 82 in costing, imagine in his paper also 18 marks, wrong answers only. No. Therefore, it's not everybody is perfect. It is you who is making that combination correctly. No. Combination correctly. See, you have 11 players, different talent is there. It is depending upon the situation, which batsman you are sending, you may win the match, even though you may not have all very good hitters like the opponent team. So it is going to be the technical, here itself is the strategy. Dear fellow students, your exam preparation is strategy only. It is more of where do you stand? Costing says strategic means where do you stand in the industry? How do you maximize the wealth of your stakeholders? For that, how do you improve your profit? That is why the subject is strategic. So when it comes to strategic, product mix decision in marginal costing, just because you have a target costing, life cycle costing, you need not ignore marginal costing, no. But in marginal costing, those days have gone. And the small problems, giving tricky situation, asking you to margin of safety. I really agree that and all push to intermediate. When it comes to final, a good quality question on product mix decision with multiple key factors, even though it's a very great possibility. Now, subcontracting or outsourcing. Outsourcing case study is there. Outsourcing case study is there. At the same time, subcontracting numerical question is there. Club both. Subcontracting and outsourcing together, you check yourself. If a subcontracting question comes, whether I am able to do it or not. A machine is there which is capable of producing only 2 products. By spending 25,000 rupees, it can become more versatile and it can do more than 2 products with the key factor. Therefore, if any product you are not able to do, remaining product to be either outsource or subcontracting. Now, when you do the product mix decision, if the product is not fully satisfied, if there's a chance, you can subcontract, include no, because you are capable of doing multiple options in one question. No, that is why 3 months, 4 months and all you did hard work. No, so when you do that hard work, when you selected such a library of questions, when you prepare your 40-50 page notes on the previous day of exam, you go through and you are capable of understanding. Let him ask anything in marginal costing. Let him club here. Product mix decision with the subcontracting. Let him ask. I know the concept. Product mix decision with key factor, ranking and allocation. In the product mix, any product left out fully not satisfied market demand, I can do subcontracting. Subcontracting and verify what is the price he is quoting, what is my variable cost. If it is worth the means, I will outsource. Otherwise, I drop the product. I am capable of doing this. The confidence you should get on the previous day of exam. Pricing decision, crucial. In fact, First, you should go through pricing decision only while preparing for final paper. Pricing decision with respect to various techniques. The cost management techniques chapter is there, no? Cost management techniques chapter. In that chapter, this pricing decision is crucial. Then in performance evaluation, transfer pricing is there, no? There also you have to mix. Then pricing decision, Pareto analysis, case study is there, no? Bring that. So keep one heading called pricing decision. Try to cover up these three possibilities, right? These three possibilities, when you are covering, you will have the confidence. Pricing strategy, I know, that equation is there, no? And the A minus BX, otherwise I'm able to do. Slope means I'm able to understand. Pricing theory question comes, I can crack it. If it's a case study comes in Pareto analysis, I can write beautifully. But if a hardcore problem of pricing decision comes with the quantitative factors, I'm able to handle it. Enhance your preparation. Enhance your preparation with more possibilities. See, I feel that is way question papers are changed. Those days when we wrote exams, no, we can only fix by sitting at home. Hey, definite margin costing one question here, make or buy decision. Hey, definite standard costing reconciliation, we can speak. Now the subject also changed so much. The business scenario also changes so much. When it comes to e-commerce and such ERP platforms, definitely institute has to upgrade their level of questions. That is where the case studies are introduced. So being a professional, you must have a patience to go through a case study, that means a case, and you must be able to understand the issues, and you must be able to give the solution. Definitely, then only you can be a professional. No. So we cannot blame the institute. Why in costing paper so much theory included? So much theory included, but please be thankful to the institute. So much theories are included, same time, theories are asked in the fashion of case studies, in the model of case studies. We have to be thankful to the institute. Otherwise, it will become very, very bad theory. In this regard, I want to tell you, you would have gone through that. One chapter removed, that special industries, agriculture, power sector, that theory they removed. The institute is kind enough. Even a bad theory you need not go through. Even if you go through a theory, immediately supported by a case study. Interesting only. Therefore, after reading the theory once, if you do a case study, because of the case study, theory can be recollected. Again, you need not go through theory. In our days, no. Costing theory, we will study separately. And our worry is how to reproduce the theory, because around 20-30 marks, no. Sometimes a student who is capable of scoring 45 by writing theory properly jumped to 65 exemption. After passing, who is going to ask you because of which question you got 65? So please understand, it is a combination, it's a technique. Therefore, you are the favorable side actually. A theory supported by case study is much better than a mere theory, verbatim reproduction you have to do and you have to muck up and vomit. That is also a situation. Instead, a theory supported by case study would be very, very easy. Change that liking. Don't complain about the subject. Don't complain. So something at all they ask. What they will ask within syllabus. Therefore, now institute has given case study separate module. And the institute website also having additional case study material. And the institute study material is having some case study. Apart from that, foreign institutes, CIMA and ACCA, if you are able to get those costing books and those case studies also, if you are able to go through, very useful. Apart from latest RTB, in the ACCA, ACCA course, ACCA, that course in particular, costing modules, case studies are very, very useful. And the CIMA books, if your friends are having, just to go through for certain topics, no, balance scorecard. Balance scorecard, the way the case studies are given in our material is slightly different over there that you can go through. These are valuations. These valuations will help you to reduce your worry about the theory and the case study. But one thing, theory and the case study, another advantage. If you are able to approach the case study, no numericals, no. Calculator is not required. There's no numericals involved. That case study, if you are able to read, understand, and if you are able to address the issues, and if you write in specific points, at least some marks you are getting instead of 0. What will happen? Certain good questions you score full marks. These questions are supportive. End of the day, you crossed 60. You are aiming for rank, different story. Minimum I'm telling. Therefore, above 60, fantastic, saved. So, case theory and case studies together, you always link and study will be very, very useful. But most important topic, I believe, is pricing decision. A CA final students cannot compromise his knowledge on pricing decision. Transfer pricing, including group company transfer. I want to add up one point here. Transfer pricing means it is a price at which the individual division transferring is one possibility, divisional transferring. Group companies, sister concern, transfer pricing. Hey, that one point very important here. When it comes to the intercompany transfer pricing, no, the examiner will expect from you when you are preparing the working note, no, the individual benefit, no, because they are sister concerns, they are group companies. Money flow will be within them. That means outflow of one person, inflow for the other, no, group companies. Therefore, when you do that, they will check your knowledge. Now, see, finally, what? Have you taken into account? Have you taken into account the benefit flown into in the other company in the form of fixed overhead absorption? Hope you are getting it. Hope you are getting it. If the order is given instead of a group company, instead of giving to a group company, if it's given to the outsider, our company is losing that order. Because of that losing the order, company may not be able to recover their fixed overhead. By giving that order, if they're able to recover their fixed overhead, the benefit part is a notional benefit. Sorry, notional benefit. Now you are final students. You use the word, sir, opportunity gain, sir. Use it, no. The opportunity gain, are you considering their check and the profitability that our group company is getting profit? Right. That means please be careful. Purpose of asking the transfer pricing. Transfer pricing, they are supposed to ask only for internal divisions. There are peculiar problems with the group company transfer on the previous day you have to go through, because when it comes to group company transfers, no, there's a possibility of profit element and the fixed overhead absorption. We must have fixed overhead absorption, strong knowledge. Fixed overhead recovery, how it can be a good news is fixed overhead knowledge. That's okay. That under the intermediate forms, you know. I think intermediate students may be observing this particular slide because the teacher is telling fixed overhead knowledge very important, in particular absorption. So at intermediate level, if the overhead chapter, if you are little careless, you may have to pay penalty in final, right? So fixed overhead recovery is an added benefit to the intergroup companies, because if the project is given outside, no, somebody will take the benefit and your own company struggling to recover the fixed cost. And there will be a profit center concept. This you have to underline. Profit center concept means, friends, because of that only this transfer pricing. Every responsibility center is going to be profit center. But if they are already working at highest capacity, then they may not bother about this internal transfer. For such companies, we should not bother about fixed overhead recovery. Such questions are there. You know very well. You know very well. So such questions previous day you go through, no. Very normal days, interdivisional profits. Previous day peculiar problems you go through, I am telling. Special care to be given for standard costing. Inter student, final students, please be aware. Standard costing is one chapter. You have to understand. That chapter only, sir. We don't like. Liking who asked. So please understand standard costing, intermediate approach, traditional approach. The same traditional approach at final level, it is going to be a different altogether analysis. You know that planning, variance, all those things, and standard costing with the already I told you, know, relevant cost approach is standard costing. You have to add the mirchi masala, the flavor to the standard costing. For the fundamental standard costing, you should know. Standard costing, please don't give up. Standard costing can be clubbed with any other topic and can be asked. It's very, very important. Previous day, standard costing, traditional approach and analysis with respect to operational planning, activity variance. Yes, that has to be done. Therefore, my dear friends, this analysis with respect to these two variances under new concept, you have to add up for final. Intermediate student, traditional approach sufficient. Reconciliation under marginal costing by contribution variance. I want to throw light on this. As a final student, when you do the reconciliation, definitely presentation important. Marginal costing presentation you have to practice. so that you yourself introduced to a concept called contribution variance. So it is not enough to know market share variance, market size variance. We have to include contribution variance, because you are going to analyze the variances not from absorption costing point of view, margin costing point of view. You are reconciling between the budgeted profit and actual profit in normal days, absorption costing format, previous day of the exam. A new thing comes, you are surveying in the exam. You must have a format for marginal costing format given in the C Institute material. So marginal costing format, how to do the reconciliation, practice couple of problems. Apart from regular problems, to be on safer side. That means the previous day, whatever work we are doing now, to be on safer side. Peculiar items, items which you generally ignore, those items if you go through, fear will go off. If fear is not there, confidence will be very high. If confidence is high, definitely you score well. Therefore, when it comes to approach, you have two different approaches now. Approaches during the 3 months before, 2 months before examination. Approaches on the previous day, previous week, either way, 2 or 3 days of the examination, you should be very, very careful. You should be really hardworking when it comes to the 2 months, 3 months. But when it comes to 1 week before, you have to inculcate whatever you studied, enough, condense it, bring into a capsule, and all important things on the previous day. For that, already you have to prepare a 40 pages notes, so that a big subject becomes a small 40 pages notes. That itself will take care of your psychology. Then you will have the big book again. I need not read entire notes. I need not go through that relief. On the previous day, you'll be cheerful and you'll be revising. Previous day, when you are cheerful and revising, your health will be taken care, your mind will be taken care. Next day exam, you will be going like attending a wedding reception. This the whole effort is how to approach the exams in a pleasant and peaceful manner, so that when you are calm and cool, your performance will be 200%. You will be double your ability. You will do. There won't be any bottleneck. Is a bottleneck, no? There won't be any bottleneck key factors. You can easily overcome that. That is where these 3 months you have to use and prepare your own notes is the key. Next. Final students, nowadays the new syllabus students, case studies, or theory based topics, case studies. Sir, that is the point, sir. The case studies, no, sir. I have gone through institute suggested answers, sir. The way they are writing, no, sir. Oh, impossible to write. Nobody will expect you to write in the same fashion. That is not expected. As a student, minimum level expected to address the case study. For example, I am doing the case study. That case study is for just in time. When I do the just in time case study, any case study for that matter, when you are preparing the answers, it has to be broken into 3 parts. Part number 1, intermediate students also, you remember this, when you do situation questions, you have to follow this. You have to write the issues in the problem first. Second, what is the subject technique available? So for example, they are struggling with carrying cost, inventory carrying cost. Inventory carrying cost, when they are struggling, the alternative is modern management technique, just in time. When you are providing the just in time, third part is because of just in time cost savings analysis. That means even in case studies, numericals possible, but the numericals will be supportive to your conclusion. So before arriving the conclusion, you are showing the financial numericals. But conclusion include not only qualitative factor, but also non-qualitative factor. That means other aspects of the subjects you have to consider. So my dear friends, case study. When I do the case study, for example, activity-based costing. Activity-based costing, both the group of students are having. No, therefore I take that example. Both inter and final students are having. It is a situation questions in activity-based costing. Activity-based costing theory, you know very well. You have to identify the cost driver. No, those issues you note down. And you know very well, compared to the traditional absorption system in activity-based costing, what are all the difficulties that you write? See, by writing this, you know, you're exhibiting your knowledge. When you exhibit your knowledge to the examiner, even though your final answer may not be in line with the CA Institute expectation, you will get an average marks instead of full marks in some questions that will help you to push to cross that 60 marks level. Therefore, Only once you write the exam, you'll be successful. So case studies, the presentation is the key. That presentation need not be in the same line how the institute has done. Need not be. It can be in your own words with correct English. At the same time, you should be addressing the issues, techniques, what you have to follow. Based on technique, in the given case study, what should be the conclusion? Conclusion should not be evasive. Conclusion should be to the point. The examiner's view they gave. Conclusion should not be, it can be done this way also, but I feel this way also, like they don't write. Please, conclusion should be based on this is to be done. Therefore, part answers marks they are giving in institute, because people going for correction of papers, no, those colleagues have told me institute instruction to the examiners are very clear. Stepwise marks. When you're addressing the issues, those marks. These are given by the institute. Therefore, getting 40, getting 50, really possible. 100 marks paper, expected to score only 50%. In each question, half approach if is correct also, a person can be qualified. Of course, we want to score for good marks. I am telling minimum bottom line. Therefore, worry not required. All you have to do is cover the syllabus, prepare the notes, get ready with a condensed approach. This I feel smart approach for costing. If someone asks me, inter or final, sir, what do you suggest? About 3 months you have to study, 2 months you have to study, institute material, whatever notes you have, select good problems, prepare your own notes, revise properly. This is what I want to say as a smart approach. If we do that, confidence automatically comes. You indirectly become master of the subject. When you are mastering the subject, no, you will not bother about what kind of questions going to come in examination. Why? What is your problem? Because you are conceptually strong person. You know how to swim in water, whether it's a swimming pool or ocean. What is your problem? Swimming fundamentally you don't know. Therefore, when you are conceptually strong, what kind of question comes? What is your problem? Let any question comes, approach correctly. I am not talking about final answer. Approach correctly, issues you address correctly, provide the technique, show whatever extent possible working notes. Final answer correct, full marks. Final answer different, to that extent marks you will not get. Absolutely no problem. Certain questions goes that way also fine. Instead of getting 0, getting 8 out of 12, fine only I am telling in certain areas which you feel difficulty in particular theory questions. So that you can slowly you can develop into your conceptual knowledge how to approach this. Presentation. Previous day move over examination hall. Let's be optimistic. Be optimistic. Till previous day you are pessimistic. You are becoming optimistic now. You enter the examination hall. The moment you enter the examination hall, when you are going to present the answer, don't have self-doubt. Generally we do, you remember, no, because we have also gone through those days. We do process costing, working note, process costing, working note, cost per unit comes to 6.7283. Suddenly sweating, because we never expected decimal. Classroom notebook answer, round answer, cost per unit 6 rupees, but here 6.72. In fact, correct answer, because of the decimal phobia, you are worried. That should not happen. You should be confident. Self-doubt you should not have. And when you are writing the answers for the questions, no, your answer corrected. Your answer only next attempt suggested answers. Your answer only institute will print as next attempt suggested answers for students to go through. That means that is the confidence you should have on you. Very important. If you have fear, please have it now for studying. All fear now only you have. All worries now only you have. All preparations now only you do. In the moment you enter the examination hall, you are not writing costing exam, you are writing costing book. You are an author. What you write only subject. What you write only subject. I'm telling confidence. Confidence purpose I'm telling. 3 hours very crucial. 3 hours it goes well. Like that in your group, 4 papers. 12 hours goes well. You are qualified. That 180 days studies. In 180 minutes, you are going to show the knowledge. 3 hours, 180 minutes now. So in that 180 minutes, obviously, first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes, how it will be, writing the roll number, tying the paper. Yeah, Effectively 170 minutes for 100 marks. So you can plan yourself the 170 for 100 marks, how to allocate and do it. Planning. Therefore, if it's a 16 marks question, 170 minutes, 100 marks, divide 1.7 minutes, roughly 2 minutes, 20 marks question, 35 minutes you can take. Similarly, your 5 marks question, 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes you can take, 170 minutes fine, effectively. In that, you have to understand the question paper. You have to go through the important things and prepare proper handwriting working notes, and the final answer should be correct in maximum questions. Maximum number of questions, final answer should be correct. Then only we are saved, But we should write the entire 100 marks. Sir, this much if you expect what will happen. That's what I'm telling. While studying itself at home, you should not try a problem for more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes, even if it's a bigger question. If you are trying, if something goes wrong, that concept you are weak, go back, read the concept, do an illustration from any notes, come back. That means even at home while studying in this 3 months time and all, one question you should not take more than half an hour and all. As early as possible, you must be able to solve with proper working notes. If that habit, if you are having, that will reflect in the examination hall. Fear won't be there. Writing model exams always better. Writing model exams always better. At least 2 model exams for each paper suggested, in particular for costing, because time management. The time management is going to be crucial, sir. Very crucial. Right? The costing question paper, intermediate first time, then I'll come to final. Subdivision. AB. 6 questions means it looks like 12 questions, including theory. That means the 12 questions when you have to write, 3 hours are available. Unless you have a practice of model exams, how you can manage? See, it will be very bad if you are not able to complete 100 marks. You know the answer for that question. It will be very bad. That will hamper your next paper. Therefore, please keep it in mind. Model exams. The model exam these days, who will conduct? You only conduct yourself. How I will conduct? 2 to 5 exam. 2 to 5 exam. Once you prepare all the topics at home, you can sit at 2 to 5, keep the alarm clock, take any of the previous year question paper downloaded. That question paper you write. 2 to 5, nobody should disturb you. Completely write 2 to 5. Don't take much time. Only 2-3 hours time you should take. Just because home, don't take extra time. After 2 to 5, download such answers. Check the answer. Model exam over. No. Why you want somebody to conduct? 2 years back, question paper, you take ad hoc. Simply one question paper you select. You try. That will help you. If suddenly one question paper is given, are capable of doing. Even final students can do the same. But 2 to 5. If the examination is 2 to 5, I believe. If examination is 2 to 5, 2 to 5 you try. That would be fantastic. Because the mind training is very important. The same 3 hours you are getting grooved. So that mind will work. If some missing information, you are already habituated. That's very, very important. While presenting the answer in costing, NSA, neatness, speed, and accuracy. Any mathematical paper, because our college lecturers, my gurus, due to always they say, present it neatly. Just because you are presenting it neatly, don't take too much of time, but answer should be accurate. Sir, here no doubt, sir. How many decimals we have to keep, sir? Minimum 2 decimals. Costing requires accuracy. If it is really rupees, you can do rounding off. Units, you can do rounding off. But generally, we prefer costing requires accuracy, neatness, speed, accuracy. You have to practice while preparing for the examination. At home itself, that's what the time management requires. Theory questions. Don't write paragraph with paragraph because they will be correcting so many papers. If you write paragraph wise, it won't attract them. Point wise, wherever possible, chart. Not colorful chart. Same color ink, chart you draw so that your presentation will be neat. Point wise, to the point, taking less time, scoring full marks. Our theory questions presentation, point wise you write and use your chart. That will be very, very useful. You have to be crisp while writing theory. You have to be elaborate while doing problems. Sometimes our students do ulta. Problems without working out, tap, they will do. Theory, that fellow right from economic subject, the habit is there. Pages together, he will write. No. Problems and solutions with the proper working notes detailed with the corresponding reference number for working note. But theory should be to the point, precise. Main answer should be on the first page. Psychology, psychology. Suppose you are asking me one question. For example, sir, how long the session will be going on? You expect a direct answer followed by further explanation. That means even in examination, they ask one question. You are required to calculate selling price of the product. First page of the answer sheet, selling price of the product, followed by working hours. Sir, is it very important to do that the compulsory question first? No particular arrangement. See, I prefer generally, it depends upon the individual. You have to give the answer sheet in the same sequence of the question paper. No, sir, first question I don't know. Second question only I know. First question, leave 2 or 3 pages. Do second question. Do third question. When time left out, come back, first question and fill up. But at the end of the 3 hours, when you are submitting the answer sheet, it is in the same sequence of question paper. Imagine. Examiner is valuing the paper. Your paper is having the same sequence so that when he is seeing the keynotes and correcting your paper, he need not search for answer. Because you are in the same flow, 1A, 1B, 1C, correct? 2A, 2B. Therefore, that will keep the examiner psychology good so that your theory questions will get good marks. Instead, you write like this, 1A, 4B, 6C, 2A. Like that, if you write, he has to search. Already he is correcting so many papers. You are disturbing his mindset. Correct. Therefore, at last you wrote theory questions. No, he simply gave 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks like that because it's a theory. That you can avoid. You can please the examiner. Don't show ignorance, exhibit intelligence. Examination is the place we should demand marks. Demand marks. You should tell the examiner how beautifully I presented. Give marks like that. That means don't show your ignorance. That means you should not present it in such a manner that you're exhibiting yourself. I have doubt in this, but still I am writing. That's not the presentation. I wrote this. This is ultimate. That should be the presentation. I'll give an example you understand. Suppose you are doing operating cost statement. Operating cost statement, you are not very sure which are standing cost, which are running cost, you are not very sure. Instead, expenses per annum total, all expenses you take one by one. Why are you putting in between the heading standing and running expense when you are not very sure? That's the example. Don't show ignorance, exhibit intelligence. Suppose suddenly one particular word you have forgotten. Correct. But instead of that particular writing that word wrongly, you can always skip that point and write your point in a different manner so that you are not showing your ignorance there. Your non-preparation should not be reflected. You should present in such a manner that you are always knowledgeable. That presentation also we can practice both at inter level and the final level. In particular, when we are writing this theory questions and answers and all those things. When it comes to case studies, as I told you earlier, address key issues as point number 1. Even theoretical questions when you write, suggest the technique to be applied because the institute will be very happy. They will feel this person knows the technique, then only he is giving the answer, not out of his own knowledge. Provide conclusion with clarity to the point. Avoid evasive and open-ended conclusions. That means your conclusion to be precise. And you should say, this is the technique, this is to be applied by the company, this is what for the cost reduction and cost control. Therefore, this is the value chain analysis, this is the value added activity, this is non-value added, this is to be avoided. If that way, if you present the answer, definitely they will feel you have undergone your preparation and presenting the answer, definitely you will be qualified. General time management, you have to write for 100 marks. No excuse. You have to write for 100 marks. Because if you write for 100 marks, very good probability, after all small careless mistake, you will cross the 60. If you yourself writing only 60, worry will start. Because if small mistakes goes here and there, aggregate problem. Therefore, time management is the key. You have to write for 100 marks. Don't leave any questions. Further preparation should be good. Don't leave any questions. Reasonable answers you have to give. Complete the paper. Right? Okay. For the purpose, in examination hall itself, one small thing you can follow. 3 hours exam. Break the 3 hours into 6 half an hour. 6 half an hour. That means you are aware of what are you doing. You are concentrating what you are doing. 6 half an hours. Each half an hour, you must be able to cover certain number of questions so that you can plan up in such a manner that in 6 half an hours, you are able to cover all the questions. Doesn't mean that whether you are doing first big question or small question. 3 hours into 6 half an hour. Each half an hour, you have to score 15 marks, either by writing theory or a practical question. 6 half an hour, 6 into 15, minimum 90 you are scoring. You write for 100, but you score 90. Try to maintain answer sequence. I told you now, that of the question paper. Don't mix up 2B, 8C, like that. Don't write. To please the examiner, this presentation we have to maintain in the examination. While reading the question, mark with pencil, keywords and data. This is to avoid multiple reading. CA final students, please remember, when you are going through the big case studies, after reading, 2 times you read, you are required to, one paragraph will be there. You read it twice. Even in intermediate students, in certain questions, you have to go through first. You are required to, so that in the big question, relevant paragraph, irrelevant paragraph, you can understand. See, final students, I give an example. You are doing a question, it's a one-time order. In that one-time order, already there is an inventory manufactured. You are doing relevant costing concept. That is full paragraph, first paragraph. Question, you are required to calculate what are the possibilities and present the answer in opportunity cost approach. That is a question. That means question is under relevant costing. Opportunity cost, relevant costing. Therefore, it is relevant cost approach. The first paragraph, which is a sunk cost, totally wasted. You need not go through once again. That's why you are required to, one paragraph, no, that read twice, so that you will know what is relevant, what again you have to go through or not. That while reading itself, we can mark with pencil, so that one time reading only, you can grasp the entire question. Use pencil calculators which you are used to. Don't buy new pen, new calculator on previous day, because you are not habituated to that, because the speed will be affected. Correct. The regular pen which you are going to use for exams, studies also same calculator, but the speed can be maintained. Avoid abbreviations and color pens. This we want to tell. See, you are a professional course student. Even though there is a time crunch, you should not use small abbreviations words. Normal loss na NL, abnormal loss na ABL. Argue it is abnormal loss. How that people will understand. That's very important. Similarly, color pens. Color pens, please avoid, because certain colors are not allowed in examination. Instructions are given. Go through that, so that please generally maintain blue or black color. That is enough. Don't go for different coloring just to want to make presentation beautiful. Presentation, if it is nice, if someone is able to read, it is able to up to the mark, fine. Need not beautiful and colorful presentation. Don't understand wrongly that, because time management is going to be the key here, because you are not allowed to take extra time there. Within 3 hours, you have to complete. One student wrote examination and sent me the paper. I have just shared here, and I said, sir, everything I wrote correctly, sir. They corrected. They put 1 mark, but my individual answers are correct. But when I go through that, I realized the student has used abbreviations. Look at this. He is telling 35 lakhs. 35 lakhs when he wrote inner column, no? 35 lakhs inner column. He is telling 35L. 35L, it is lakhs for you, but you should write a number. Correct. That's a working note. He has not shown separately. Divided by 14, how the 14 has come, he has not shown. Simply for end answer, they put the tick and they give the mark. This is one. Further, suddenly they wrote one particular thing, they circled it, they put 0 for that particular student. The reason being, he has wrote material purchased. Material purchased heading he put, but the working notes are not in a sequence. He wrote jumble of points. One point about what is given, another point is what is paid for purchase. If examiner do not have much time, he simply seen that and say that what is this, he paid, purchase paid and all. He gave 0 marks for that. One particular question, the student is that it's not clear, therefore he did not go through the question only, the examiner. See here, the student has written the exam and he is writing theory answers for 1 mark question, whether it's a cost control or cost reduction. He simply wrote point number 1, cost control. Point number 3, cost reduction. What is cost control? What is cost reduction? What is the reason? So reproduce the question one sentence, put a dash, therefore it is cost control. See, they gave half of marks. Actually, one mark question. They gave half of. Why? You wrote, I told you to write to the point. Doesn't mean that only that word, no. These are all happening. So please understand, if you write properly to the point with the proper presentation, institute is giving marks. For the same student, when the presentation is good, they give full marks. You can see that. The institute is not confused. They are liberal, but your presentation should be important. Right? So friends, your resources, notes, study material, your preparation, previous day of the examination, presentation makes you very successful. Definitely you can go through. Nothing is difficult. Confidently you go through. Doubts are there. Here my email ID I have given rsampathkumarca@gmail.com. Precisely if you send your doubts, definitely I will give the reply with whatever reference you have to do or whatever reply to be done. Thanks a lot for patiently watching and listening. Hope you got certain value added points so that you can use for your preparation. Once again, very much thankful to the institute and our uh, chairman and our Sikasa office bearers to give me the opportunity to meet you. And at the same time, it's a great pleasure to share whatever little knowledge I have that I can share with you. Right. So thanks a lot. Always be in touch. My email ID I have given. Please be in touch with me. Okay. Right. Thank you. Yes, certain students have said their thanks to me. I am equally thankful to you. In chat, I can see that they are telling thanks a lot and all those things. No need to say thanks because it's after all, I was also like you only those days when I'm struggling to pass the examinations. It is whatever little I know, I have shared with you. Therefore, no need to say thank and all. If you are successful, you are always happy because at least that's the best remuneration any faculty can get. Thanks a lot to everyone. So take care. Any doubts, please be in touch. Okay, thanks a lot to everybody. Any doubts?
Patil, in case if any questions are there, you can just read out. Otherwise,
Yeah, please read out. I'll answer. Yes, Patil.
if there are no questions, Patil, you can just formally
Yeah.
start
If there are no
vote of
questions,
thanks.
fine. Yeah, sure.
To be very precise, sir, you have answered all the questions what the students might be thinking of. And definitely for not only for this particular subject, but for accounts 1 and accounts 2 of intermediate, costing of intermediate, accounts of final year, costing of final year, and SFM of final year. 6 subjects. This is
Oh,
for sure. Yes, definitely, sir. The same thing, that 40-45 pages of notes and then combination of questions and theory, all those things. If students do their own notes to revise 1 day or 2 days before, definitely there is no uh,
fear. Yeah.
fear while answering, and then definitely they'll be able to get through at least with 55 to 60 marks in these particular subjects, sir. Thank you so much
Definitely,
for
sir.
that. Yeah, over
Yes.
to you, Pandit.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Manju.
Unmute yourself, Patil. Not able to hear you. Okay, I guess Patil is having some
Absolutely
issue.
no problem.
This-
It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll do sir.
Yes.
On behalf of Bangalore branch of SIS of ICI and the Sikasa Bengaluru branch, I heartily thank C.A. Sampath Kumar sir, my guru since 23 years, and he'll always be my guru. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
giving your valuable insights about not only about subject but also about how to build up confidence and then how to overcome that fear and all those things. Especially because usually students think that okay, accounts and SFM and then costing, these are the bottlenecks. I mean bottlenecks in their examination in each of their group. So if you can crack as you have suggested, definitely they'll be able to clear with flying colors. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and then definitely the students who have attended this session and also students will be watching over YouTube now or even in future will definitely be of definitely aware of good help. Thank you so much for your time, sir. And then I thank Bangalore branch for giving all of us this opportunity to hear Sampath Kumar, sir. And I thank all the attendees who have made best use of these 2 hours. And I thank the Sikasa office bearers. And thank you once again. Happy learning. Thank you so much, sir. Once again.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And thanks to everyone. Good luck, friends. Good luck, students. Special thanks to CA Manjunath. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, good night.